Welcome to the 2022 PDGA Masters Disc Golf World Championships. We're here at McNaughton Park, just outside of Peoria, Illinois. This PDGA major, footage and production by Ace Run Pro, and thanks to Gatekeeper Media. It's Grant Zellner and Jennifer Allen with round 4 coverage of the FP40 division.
And we are back to McNaughton Park, and it is a very rainy day. Scoggins still has a pretty big lead over Sarah Hokom, Holly Finley, and Juliana Korver.
Yeah, the rain catching at least some people a little off guard. Just a day or two ago, it wasn't even in the forecast. But boy, what a lot of rain fell today.
Scoggins out of Los Angeles, California.
Sarah Hokom of Caldwell, Idaho, bringing that forehand to McNaughton Park.
Next up, we have Holly Finley out of Bell Buckle, Tennessee.
And the legend, 5-time Juliana Korver.
She's out of Orange City, Iowa.
Yeah, Midwesterner. Looking at hole number 1 now, par 3 at 444 feet.
This is a pretty big down-sloping fairway that if the wind kicks up, either a tail or headwind, it's going to affect the shot pretty good. You can go around the left side of the tree here, try holding it straight and hyzering over to the basket, which is up on an elevated area built in to prevent erosion. You can also take the big hyzer route and try to stay away from those low branches.
Los Angeles, California, Scoggins.
Owen began to distance herself, I think, a little bit in round 3. Has a pretty commanding lead here.
Owen's taking the safe hyzer route, trying to get in front of the trees right there in the middle. Oh, she's going to have a clear shot up to the basket.
Idaho, Sarah Hokom.
Sometimes if you can make it to the bottom of the hill, but you don't want to hyzer off behind that tree, she may have purposely thrown a little bit shorter or not throwing so hard because of these tee pads. We were a little cautious on some of the pads. We're pretty wet in practice. So you may see Hokom probably lay down a towel here in a little bit. She had a little bit of a slip during practice. That's a beautiful forehand. Get back around. Awesome drive.
Bell Buckle, Tennessee, Holly Finley.
I think Holly has been adding distance to her game.
She's definitely been working on it a lot. She likes to throw the hyzer flip-up shot. There's a towel already. It will not be the last, that's for sure. This is one of, I believe, the newer pads, but some of them in the back are pretty treacherous. And that gets that flip up, and it will not likely come back, but maybe get hung up in that tree to not go too far.
Orange City, Iowa, Juliana Korver.
Testing out the footing there.
If we can just get under that branch, that's going to hyzer right up towards the basket. That's perfect placement. Hopefully not too obstructed by that last little bush.
Owen to play first. Looks like 140 feet maybe.
140 feet. She'll be running it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Gets a good little skip back up there.
Uses the backstop nicely.
So even though that Holly's disc flipped over down the hill, she has a, it's pretty big open hyzer around those trees. Gets hung up. That one branch is pretty much the only big trouble branch that'll get in the way of some of these shots. Unless you hyzer over there to the left, that's a little ugly area as well.
Sarah shaping something right up there into the sandbox.
Beautiful little turnover approach. Juliana's going to do the same.
Yep, pretty tight here.
You just have to be careful with the angle there so you don't catch a rollaway.
Owen saving the par here on the long par 3. JK as well. So we'll have 3 pars and a bogey here as our lead group starts their 4th round.
And these women are going to climb up the hill to hole number 2.
Hole 2, 276 feet, a par 3 playing sort of up and over.
Yeah, this one drastically goes down. A lot of women choosing to go mid or putter even. The putter's going to get a lot of glide to go straight at it. You can also take a hyzer route and try to knife it in and get it to stop out here in the grass. A pretty fast green that's going to get a lot of skips typically off into the trees.
Owen to play first.
Looks like she might be going with her pig, but that did not look very stable. Gets caught up on the branches there on the right side by hole 1. Sarah starts to hyzer out a little too soon, but she's going to be down there in the open with a good approach toward the basket. Being 276, people think, oh, this is a good, easy birdie hole. I'm not sure how many birdies were on it, but I didn't see as many every round that I anticipated to get this hole. JK keeps it inside circle 1. Holly getting a nice slow glide. Unfortunately, just a little too long.
So now Owen still out around 80 or 90 feet.
And those are test sirens. We believe in the pack. This was not due to weather that you're hearing those sirens. Wow.
Big hit from Sarah Hokom. Well down the hill.
Yeah, huge jump. Great power. Catches it perfectly.
To your point earlier, Jennifer, only 3 birdies on the day. That was one of them.
Wow, that's what I thought. I did not see many. Holly having to pitch out. Juliana's going to have a good look at it. She has the cleanest one. Everyone else is going to be tapping out.
Owen over there standing like a statue. So Sarah picking up a stroke on Owen Scoggins, dropping the lead to 8 here through 2 holes of round number 4.
Play.
Disc.
Golf.
Pelaan frisbeegolfia.
Spill disc golf. Yeah.
To help recognize players of all ages and backgrounds, we are excited to announce the PDGA Global Master Series.
Beginning January 2023, anyone competing in a Masters division at a PDGA-sanctioned tournament will qualify.
You'll be ranked with other players in your division from around the world.
And the player with the 8 highest rated rounds will become a PDGA Global Master Series champion.
Visit pdga.com/GMS.
You can join Ace Run Pro's Patreon account for as little as $3 a month. Sign up today, become an Ace Runner.
Looking now at hole number 3, 255-foot par 3.
See that little bit of a shrub there on the left? It does kind of get a little bit involved into the tee pad. You have to go around the bushes on the right, and then the hole is going to curve back to the right. So a good S-shaping shot. It's not very long. A lot of slow speed mids or putters are going to be flying into that because that is a pretty rough area around the basket. Lots of roots.
I saw that.
Sloping down. Sarah has a good forehand shot in there. I saw a few lefties get a good approach.
So Sarah looks like circle's edge, maybe just outside.
Owen's going to work her forehand, try to get a good skip.
Well inside the circle there. You can see just how dark it got at times during the course of the round.
Juliana's going with a more straighter, very slow turnover, and that works beautifully.
Perfectly placed.
Yeah, she didn't have a lot of speed on that, and that's the only way to keep it up there by the basket. I did double check with Holly. This is a Star Mako. It looked a lot thinner than my Makos. So she does bag a Mirage, though. Those are 4 beautiful shots.
We've been seeing that Mako a lot during the course of this tournament with all of these tightly wooded fairways. Here's Sarah, just a little ways outside the circle. Flashes the number on the top of the basket. Just off the cage there for Holly. Scoggins wearing dark colors. It's almost hard to see her there. That's Owen's first birdie of the day.
And Juliana taps in her birdie as well. A lot of towels going to be used today. It was a steady, at times pretty strong rain the whole time. It didn't, no lightning, no thunder really, just a very steady rain the entire round. We thought it was going to stop right before the last couple holes, and then here it came again.
Yeah, it really did. Wave after wave. So the group through the third here with a couple of birdies to show for it. Owen back to a 9-stroke lead over Sarah Hokom.
Another down-sloping fairway here at number 4.
Yeah, par 3 at 360 feet. So long-ish, but the downhill sort of negates some of that distance.
Yeah, it's the ground in those trees kind of sneak up on you toward the end. It's hard to keep the right height of the disc to get all the way down. Usually a lot of shots are getting caught up there on that right side, or unfortunately snagging one of those trees, 2 trees that are in the middle. Watching the nose angle on the release of this shot is important. And you don't want too stable of a disc for it to hyzer off there onto that left side. Owen looks like she's going to stay outside on the short grass. Juliana keeps good height to get through that first section, but then that ground meets the disc pretty quickly as it comes back up. So she's going to be probably just outside maybe circle 2. Sarah
needs that to turn.
Yeah, she has to do a lot of work on these
Oh, it
holes with that
does.
forehand, but when she hits the line, it just carries perfectly.
It's great. Actually drives the pin here at the 4th.
And Holly making it 2/3 of the way down as well.
So Holly will play first here from, looks like just inside 100 feet or so.
Gives it a good safe bid. A lot of thick grass around this basket. That'll change hole to hole, so we really have to kind of pay attention to which basket that we're on how, where we want to place that putter coming in.
Oh, and off the chains there. A deep circle 2 bid. And here's Sarah with an opportunity.
Comes off a little high. Juliana has a great putt to save her par.
Oh, catches a sort of a nub, I guess, there off the top.
Yeah, it was a little high as well. These baskets are actually a little different than the baskets that we played on at Northwood. You notice they don't have that interlocking second chain, and so you can cut through these chains a little bit easier, as well as reach that pole to get a kickback a little easier than we do at Northwood. So you have to be a little careful, especially with wet chains.
So 3 pars and a bogey for our lead card here at the 4th. 1 birdie on the entire day here at the 4th. Little shout out to Elaine King.
Ledgestone. Every summer, hundreds of disc golfers flock to the greater Peoria, Illinois area to compete in the sport's richest and most charitable event, the Ledgestone Open. But what does Ledgestone look like for the rest of the year? On the surface, Ledgestone is one of disc golf's leading retailers, but look a little closer and you'll find a group of motivated individuals providing the best possible service to the disc golf community. So whether you're building a bag, wanting to support your favorite pro, or looking to add to your disc golf wardrobe, choose the retailer that's as passionate about the sport as you are. Choose Ledgestone.
You're looking at the 5th here at McNaughton Park, a par 3 at 303 feet.
Yeah, we've all decided a lot of the distances out here are probably off a little bit. This one plays to us a little over 300 feet, even with the downhill slope. Many of us going with drivers, or at least a fairway driver on this. Fast green comes into number 5 as well. So long putts are usually layups versus giving it a strong downhill bid. Owen's going to take this outside route and get hopefully a good skip.
Does that down tree there near the basket get in, or near the tee,
I
get
heard
in
it
your
was
head, or no?
It doesn't mind. I go a little bit higher with a straighter fairway and try to get it to hyzer down. I did hear it was hit.
Okay. Well.
So apparently it does come into play a little bit. Juliana takes the inside route. You just have to be careful taking that route to hyzer down. She gets all the way past, so that was good. But you can catch up in that dry creek, and that has the most trees on the entire fairway. Holly takes the inside route as well, but gets that little branch. So safer to take the hyzer, a little bit less stuff to get in the way.
Branches probably hanging lower today than they normally would, weighed down by the rain. Sarah's got the towel out now.
Yeah, this was one of the slicker tee pads, and she really has to put an angle on her disc. So wanting that plant foot to not slip is very important. She gets a good drive from it. Again, such a downhill sloping putt, though. I don't know how much she'll forcefully run that.
Holly's tee shot made it maybe halfway to the basket, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, she gets a good clean out though.
Oh, nicely played.
So the thick grass is probably going to give us more skips than we've been getting, being nice and wet today.
Right.
Owen gets that to stick in the mud, so she's fine.
Yeah, some of the grass here is almost more of a leafy clover or something like that. It's very, very thick.
Ooh, that was a good bid from Juliana. Stays close to the basket for a tap-in par. Sarah kind of gives it a soft bid. You have to be careful, deciding on that, because sometimes the soft bids will hyzer off a little further away than anticipated. And that is our first cut through. Very unfortunate. That was a beautiful putt. Oh, wow. I had no clue those were back-to-back when I said that.
2 in a row.
I knew it happened a lot. I witnessed it as well. Back-to-back is pretty hard to watch. There was nothing wrong with either of those putts. That's very unfortunate.
So unfortunately, Sarah and Holly take the bogeys here at the 5th. And we get out of here to the 6th, the par 3 at just 207 feet.
Yeah, and this one playing probably a little closer to 230, 235. Uphill, you want to go between these two trees here, trying to keep it clean with something pretty slow that's just going to hyzer off there to the left. A little bit of a quick green, not as fast as some of the others, but if you do hit that dirt area, you can get a pretty big skip that will usually roll down just a little bit more to the left than you want. I'm going with something pretty slow that's hopefully going to catches that very last tree. That's in circle 2.
Juliana.
She usually works her JK putter beautifully on this hole, and again, catching just a little short.
Hard to get the height. This plays a lot more uphill than it looks, I think.
Well, I think a lot of us, too, are just worried about these tee pads. And, wow, that is 2 very unfortunate breaks.
It's still going.
That shows you how steep a lot of these fairways and greens are. A lot of slope out here. There is an OB pond down there. I hopefully don't think she went all that way, but she went close. Sarah keeping it nice and flat. All of them catching that thick grass up on the top. There's our first big putt from Owen.
From behind the stump, running it back.
That's just a very solid range that she putts.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's about the distance we see her hit all the time. Holly's almost probably the distance from the tee pad all the way down to the right, and it is like totally blind shot. We know where the basket is because she could probably see this big brush of sticks and stuff. The camera's not really showing it, but there's a big pile of wood to the right. I'm assuming she was maybe trying to go off of that. Wow, beautiful birdie putt from Juliana. No one really caring about the order here when it's pouring down rain.
Yeah.
Sarah had a few of them release high. That one a little low. That is an awesome save by Holly.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she made the hole about 400 feet.
In another state for a minute there. That was really impressive.
And off of just barely missing the line, getting a kick in the tree, or just right in the middle of the fairway. Even though the holes are short distances, they can bring a little bit of difficulty.
2-stroke swing. No, just a one-stroke swing, excuse me, there at the top. But the lead now up to 12. And we're off to the 7th, 396-foot par 3.
This is one of the most more difficult holes on the course. We want to hit this gap between those trees, widest part of the fairway. Then it drastically slopes downhill. So your hyzer shots are going to land right about there. Sarah's forehand is probably about the only drive that can turn back and fade to the right at the end where we find our basket. Again, pretty sloping green, so coming in hot on those second shots can be a little more difficult. Rain looks like it's picking up a little bit heavier, which it did at times. Owen just trying to play a nice safe shot to the middle. It's a placement shot. Juliana gives it a little bit more. That should hyzer back right to the landing zone. Gets a good little skip. That's going to be perfect.
Yep. Get that finish to the left enough and you'll be wide open into the basket.
You do have to be careful, though, if you put too much angle on it. Holly doesn't. Holly's is pretty flat. But you can get she's still got a little bit of a roll. If you hit that at too much angle, you can get a big skip and roll all the way into the water, which is there to the left and is about the only OB on the course besides the road. Yeah, Hokom gets that full flex. That's going to be probably close to side circle 1 or just outside. Owen has quite a bit distance to bite off. She's taking her Firebird, gets it all the way down there.
Gets it to die too there.
Yeah, that's why she likes that as an approach. It doesn't usually skip too far for her, but she can trust it to put a lot of heat on it.
Catching a little cabbage there early. Gets inside the circle, but we'll have a tester.
Juliana working the polecat. That doesn't get as much ground play as some of the others, so good approach disc. Sarah just laying it up, which is very smart from where she was.
Had a little further than I initially thought.
I did too. It got caught up, maybe even kept rolling a little bit.
Yeah, that was a tester distance there. So Holly will drop a stroke here.
Yeah, she has such a good, strong putt, but maybe knowing that the chains are super wet, she may have kept that a little bit lower, trying not to get another spit. I think all of them are little testers today when it's pouring down rain.
Yeah.
Your hands are wet, the putters are wet.
Dealing with some mud here in some places.
It definitely got treacherous at times, just trying to walk to the holes. Even, throughout the next day, everything was still pretty wet. It not only rained all through our round, but then through most of the evening as well. Almost through the front 9.
Hole 8 is a par 3 measuring at 276 feet.
This is one of my favorite lines on the course. It just plays beautifully for a soft, fading turnover. You want to hit a nice straight flight through those 2 trees in the middle. Let the disc softly finish over to the right side. I think this is approachable by both left hand, right hand, forehand, backhand. It's a really fun hole to play. It's also a hole we've seen deer at all week long. So Owen cuts that off a little too hard. Digs into the grass, doesn't get a skip into the rough stuff there. Rain is definitely coming down harder than it had been all day long.
Right here in the middle of the round. Had a little bit of a cell move over.
Juliana gets that one to turn over and hyzer back nicely. Have an uphill look. Sarah has a good shot for this hole if it can stay up there. Landing over there by Juliana's. And it's one of those things, like you'd almost rather be short and not throw as hard than risk falling when there is a lot of golf left. Holly has a beautiful turnover shot, so this hole I'm sure she enjoys to throw.
Oh, and bounces the up shot off the pole.
And that's probably something you're going to see is a lot of these that you might be running are just laying up at this point and going for a good par when it's pouring down rain. Sarah's close enough to give a good bid. Do not roll, please. There we go. This is one that you can catch an ugly roll on. Holly giving it a strong bid as well. And all of the women are going to hopefully tap out their pars. Holly taking her time, and that's what you have to do.
Surprisingly, just 2 birdies on the day here at the 8th. You had one of them.
Yeah, I love this hole. It's a pretty hole.
Hole 9, 255 foot. This par 3 ends the first half of our 4th round.
Yeah, very tight off the tee, very thick left and right. The fairway slopes pretty drastically downhill and a lot of dirt around this basket. So coming in with a slower putter mid to not get too big of a skip is important because the OB pond is down past the basket.
Has Owen given up the box so far in this front 9?
Have not. I don't think so.
I don't think so. Out into the middle of the fairway there. Gets a fortunate kick off the right side.
Yeah, staying in the fairway on this one. This is one that I think a lot of women feel like we can easily get down there when it's not pouring rain. This tee pad was pretty muddy and slick. Elaine King actually slipped all the way off of it and luckily was not injured. Sarah making, I think, most of the way through that on the left side.
Here's Holly.
And she throws a very understable disc on there to hold that straight line. And because of the angle of the fairway, it still hyzers down, but not too fast. So that's a pro tip. Yeah, Owen's not going to give that too strong of a run. And Juliana doing the same. Yeah, it's just not.
Take this on.
It's not worth it. You don't want to try to run 80 footers in the rain when it's such a downhill slope like that.
Oh, Sarah.
Yeah, she's
taking a walk in the woods.
Well, it's just on the rough of the foliage that's right behind the basket. So, unfortunately, it's not a thick wall of it, but there's so many little branches that there's usually not a hole to get through there. You're not far away from the basket, but sometimes being in the actual trees, you have more openings. Ooh, that was offline, right? Went out of her hand. Beautiful, strong, confident par save. That was
Good
a great
focus there.
Yeah, that was a great putt. Sarah as well. And it was still, even though it's pouring down rain, clearly it's humid, but it was hot humid. So
Yeah,
you
it
had
really
to
wasn't a
decide.
cold
You
day.
see Sarah, in her tank top. It's because it's hot. Even though it's soaking wet, The raincoats, the pants, trying to stay a little drier just was making you sweat. So difficult conditions to deal with out here at McNaughton.
Uncomfortable all around, as you can see. We've got things tightening up there between Holly and Juliana here on our lead card.
Yeah, not a lot of movement on the leaderboard. R4 still remaining up top, followed by myself and Stephanie Vincent, as well as Elaine King.
Chase car duking it out, looking for an opportunity to move up to that lead card by the last day. Nevertheless, we still have a back nine to play here for round number 4, so make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the PDGA on all of our channels, including right here on YouTube. We'll be back with back 9 action of the FP40 division here in round 4 from Peoria. It's the 2022 Masters Disc Golf World Championships.